Hey, Shalom Akim. First and foremost, and give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rachak with us. Double honors unto the elders, apostles of the great millstone. The elders of the great millstone, intercourse. Peace and blessings unto the hopeful elect, the sincere servants of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, serve him in truth and sincerity. Yes, so we're coming back with another lesson through spirit. This lesson will be based off of the Israelites will rule. All the other nations, all the heathen who had us in captivity, mainly Esau, Edom, they're all going into slavery under us. And this is not what I'm just saying. This is what the scriptures say. And as prophets, we bring out what the scriptures say. And this is exactly what the prophecies are. That Israel will rule, the Lord Yahushua will come back, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus. He's not coming back to make a unison. He's coming back to set up his people over all other people, which are the Israelites. So to bring out real quick, this Isaiah chapter 14:1. It says, "For the Lord Yahweh will have mercy on Jacob, and yet choose Israel, and shall set them in their own land, and the strangers shall be joined with them. And they shall cleave the house of Jacob." So keep in mind, it says, the Lord will have mercy on Jacob. Throughout all the scriptures, including the New Testament, the Lord's only saying, or said, how he's only dealing with the Israelites. When the scriptures speak about the Gentiles, you have two types of Gentiles. You have, of course, the heathen. When the scriptures speak about the heathen, in one sense, when it speaks about the Gentiles, but in another sense, the other meaning of Gentiles really represents the Israelite foreigners who were, of course, at that time, they were given onto the Greek customs, and they lost the Israelite customs, so they were considered Gentiles, meaning they're spiritually and mentally Gentiles, meaning that they were far away from the truth, having the word, having these Israelite customs. And in a sense, us today, before we came into the truth, we are considered Gentiles, spiritually and mentally Gentiles, because we are far away from the truth. So when the scriptures speak about Gentiles in the sense of them receiving salvation and repenting, that's speaking about the Israelite foreigners who have been departed from the truth. So it says, "For the Lord Yahweh will have mercy on Jacob, and yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land." And this hasn't happened yet. This is not speaking about them fake people today who call themselves the children of the Lord. It says the Lord will have mercy on Jacob, and yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land. And the scriptures say how the Lord will make a deliverance for the Israelites. First and foremost, the Lord will send back Yahushai to deliver his people. We're not going to take planes and take boats and stuff, or whatever. However, the people got there, taking a plane or however, man. That's not how it's going to happen. The Lord Yahushua will deliver us by the way of chariots. The Lord's going to send us his mighty angels. They're going to be piloting their chariots. And Lord, and the great Lord Yahushua will come back in his own chariot. It's going to be bigger than the other chariots. And of course, he's going to be sending his angels to deliver us. Those so-called UFOs in the skies, those are the vehicles that will deliver us. We're not going to be delivered by planes. And nah, man, the Lord's going to make a great deliverance to get us out of here. So that's how we know it's not speaking about them people today. Them fake people who call themselves the children of the Lord over there in the state of Israel today. That's not talking about them. So it says, "For the Lord Yahweh will have mercy on Jacob, and yet choose Israel, and set them in their own." Yeah, it says, "And set them in their own land, and the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave the house of Jacob." Yeah, so the strangers right here are speaking about the Israelite foreigners. All of the Israelites who have been scattered amongst these other nations, because as the scriptures say, the Lord will scatter us amongst all the nations. Deuteronomy chapter 28 and 64. That was a curse unto us. for us to be scattered amongst all these other nations, and to be basically take the appearance of these heathen. Because as we know, if an Israelite man sleeps with a heathen woman, their son, or the child will take on, or really, the son in this case would take on the appearance, as well as the daughter. But making a point that the son will take the appearance, or basically a lighter complexion. If the mother is an Edomite, or a nation of a lighter complexion, or they're gonna take basically some of the traits and appearance of the mother. And then if that son gets a heathen woman, it's gonna increase even more for the children of the son, and so on and so forth. So that's how you take the appearance of the heathen. But as we know, the scriptures say how what we are is determined by our Father. The scriptures say how in Numbers chapter 1 and 18, how we are determined, what we are is determined by our Father's, the houses of our fathers. What we are is determined by our father's lineage, not our mother's lineage. Our mother's lineage has no influence on our nationality. So it says, and the strangers shall be joined with them. Yeah, the Israelite foreigners coming back. And they shall cleave the house of Jacob. And by the way, the word is getting out. The word is getting out. You have a lot of brothers repenting around the world. Israelites, coming back onto the truth. But the Lord's going to gather all of us together once again and bring us into the land of Israel. I mean, we're all, we're all not part, or, we're all not currently in the land of Israel today. So the Lord will deliver us and unite us once again, all the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. So it says, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob, and the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them. And who is them speaking about? That's speaking about these other nations. And the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord Yahweh for servants and handmaids. And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. Yeah, so what does this mean? This means that we're going to take captives who's basically we're going to take captives these nations, with us being captives under them beforehand. I mean, we're in captivity unto this day under the Edomites. Slavery has never been abolished. It's just been a shift, a transferring. It's just been a transferring. So it says, and they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. So we're going to rule over our oppressors, the ones who oppressed us. We're going to take them captives, the ones who had us as captives. And you're not supposed to put the Israelites in slavery, man. The Israelites are designed to rule. The Lord designed us to rule. So once this happens, that's going to be it. The Israelites will be ruling forever, for eternity. As the scriptures say, Jacob was given that blessing, that eternal blessing, for all other nations that bow down to him, and basically for him to be the king. So when you put into captivity, those people, the Israelites, with them having that blessing, hey, guess who's going to get punished? You're going to get punished. Speaking about these heathen. So it says, verse 3, and it shall come to pass in the day that the Lord Yahweh shall give thee rest from thy sorrow, and from thy fear, and from the hard bondage wherein thou wast made to serve. Yeah, and for our disobedience towards the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yashai, he delivered us up unto our enemies. There's many times where the Lord delivered us up to our enemies because of our disobedience, the wickedness of the nation of Israel as a whole. So the Lord delivered us up unto our enemies. And the modern day times, or Basically, we saw them with the days of slavery. Lord delivered us up onto our enemies once again. 1619 or 1492, as we know, Christopher Columbus, his real name being Cristobal Colon. He came here to the Americas to take down the so-called Native Americans and Latinos, which they were here. They traveled here to escape the captivity of the Syrians. You can get that in 2nd Ezra chapter 13 and 40. The northern kingdom of the nation of Israel escaped the Syrians. And, they came here out to the land of America, but they're going off to the northern kingdom. And the Lord basically sent our enemies to take us down. And for the so-called Negroes, the southern kingdom, the bulk of them came in 1619 onto the Americas. And the so-called Negro, Native Americans, Latinos were put into bondage and slavery. All of our enemies took us, man. But mainly Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. Whether it be the Europeans, the British, whether it be the Spanish, the French, the Portuguese, they all overtook us, man. And they sold us as gifts onto these other nations. Even these other nations, the heathen, the so-called Arabians or the Chinese even. And these different countries, even within the Middle East, they all bought us, man, and had us as slaves. When you go actually deep into some of these other countries, you find that they had slaves, Israelite slaves. I remember doing a lesson about China, how they had Israelite slaves at one point. But they don't you don't really find that anymore. You kind of have to dig deep. So this is Psalm chapter 147 and 19. He showeth his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. See? So the Lord's only dealing with the Israelites. The word has only been given unto the Israelites. So really, man, when you see the heathen, Esau or these other nations having this book in their hands, man, it's an abomination, because the word has only been given out to Jacob. And that's why you be seeing Esau trying to pervert the word. You be seeing Esau trying to, some of these translations are, they're off. They're deceptive. That's why the King James version is the best English version you can get, because it's literally translated straight from the Greek and the Hebrew, the Hebrew and the Greek. But as we know, in order to get the full understanding, you can't get the full understanding just from the English. You're gonna have to go into the Hebrew and the Greek, get into the Hebrew words and the Greek words. Of some, if you don't get the etymology and the meaning of these words within the original language, you won't get the full understanding. Within certain scriptures. So it's important that we do that. But yeah, so really these other nations are not supposed to be, holding this book, because the word has only been given out to the Israelites. And the Lord only, especially for the Israelite prophets, we're the only ones who can break down this word and teach it. So when you see the church pastors, you be seeing Edomite church pastors, man, they be breaking down the scriptures completely wrong, and it's an abomination to see that. It says, Psalm chapter 147 and 19, he showeth his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. Yeah, and all the law, statutes, commandments have been given unto us, has been given unto these other nations. That's why, they're doing what they do, and because, hey, that's how the Lord set them up. The Lord set them up to serve their own gods and their own idols. That's why you don't really see them getting punished like the Lord punishes us. Because the Lord doesn't know the other nations. The Lord knows us as a family, As the scriptures say, Israel's likened unto a woman for the Lord. So we're spiritually the wife, spiritually the wife of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. That's how the Lord looks at Israel, as a woman, as his wife. And once we went off, then that was spiritually us. That was us committing adultery spiritually against the Lord. So that's why the Lord likens us as the nation of Israel as unto a woman. It says, he showeth his word unto Jacob and his statutes. It says his statutes, his judgments, and his judgments unto Israel. He hath not dealt so with any nation. See, so he hath not dealt so with any nation. And as for his judgments, they have not known them. Praise be the Lord Yahweh. Yeah, so the Lord has not known any other nation, man. He has not dealt so with any other nation. As the scriptures say, the Lord set us up as a holy people, a peculiar people. Deuteronomy chapter 7 and 6, Deuteronomy chapter 14 and 2. The Lord has set us up as a holy people over all other nations. The Lord chose us out of all other nations. It says, as for judgments, they have not known them. Praise ye the Lord Yahweh. Getting Revelation chapter 2 and 25. It says, but that which ye have already, hold fast till I come. And he that overcometh and keepeth my works unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations. And who's it speaking about? It's speaking about the saints. The saints that overcome. The elect of the nation of Israel. Guess what? Those who overcome, which of course, that's going to be the elect of the nation of Israel. They're going to receive power over the nations. The 144, strong with the 144,000, the governing body of the nation of Israel. They're going to be given power over the nations. So what does this mean, man? It says, to him will I give power over the nations. So what does this mean? This means that Yahushua is coming back. He's not coming back, man, to make a unison with all the nations. Because, that's what the modern day Christianity will teach you. Oh, the Lord's coming back to save everybody. Nah, man, the Lord's only coming back to save his people. When you get that word for a world within John chapter 3 and 16, that word for world is cosmos, which basically means an arrangement, an arranging, basically a certain group of people. Like you have the term, the world of hip hop, or you have, Disney World, for example. Basically, when you say world in that sense, it's only speaking about the world of those particular things. Same thing with the nation of Israel. When John chapter 3 and 16 mentions the world, it's only speaking about the world of Israel. Everything about Israel, man. Everything concerning Israel. That's what it means. So that's why it's important to get these words. Because, when you get these different words, even though it's the same word within English, it could be different. I mean, it's a lot of instances where they're actually different within the Hebrew and the Greek. So, yeah, that's why it's important to get the original languages. But it says, Revelation chapter 2 and 27, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron. As the vessels of a potter shall they be broken to shivers, even as I received of my Father. And you can get how Yahushua received that of his Father within Psalm chapter 2. So the Lord's coming back to take down these other nations and deliver his people and to set up his people as the rulers, of course, within the kingdom of heaven. Of course, under the commandment of the Lord, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, we're going to be ruling over all these other nations. It says, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron. When you get the word for rod of iron, let's go ahead and get it. So we can get rod. Rod within the Greek is rhabdos, which means with a rod of iron, it says, when applied to kings with a rod of iron, indicates the severest, most rigorous rule. So meaning that we're not going to be treating, it's not like we're going to give the captivity that we're going to give onto these other nations. It's not like it's going to be a light, easy captivity. No, I mean, hey, it's going to be hard bondage onto them. They're going to be building up the kingdom of heaven through our blueprint, what we give them. They're going to be doing everything, man. They're going to be our slaves, our captives. Even though we're going to have the new bodies, we could easily have the ability to build up the kingdom ourselves, but we're not going to do that. Why? Because we're going to be the kings, and these other nations will be our captives. They're going to be our servants. And, we're going to exercise our power as kings, and we're going to make these other nations build up our kingdoms, just like how we built up their kingdoms, and their countries. They're going to do the same onto Israel. So it says, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron. Yeah, it says, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron. As the vessels of a potter shall they be broken to shivers, even as I received of my Father. So there you have it, man. It says, and I will give him the morning star. He that hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches. There you have it, man. More proof. And this, by the way, this in the New Testament. This promise is still in effect, man. In effect, the Lord has not done away with his promises that he made unto the children of Israel, for them to rule over all other nations, for that second covenant, for them to receive their perfect bodies. Only the nation of Israel will receive those perfect bodies, man. Have the law, statutes, commandments written within their hearts. So this Revelation chapter 13 and 10. He that leadeth in the captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth, like it says, he that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here's the patience and the faith of the saints. See? So he that leadeth in the captivity shall go into captivity. As we know, Esau, Edom, has led us into captivity. So guess what? He's going to be led into captivity. And as well as these other nations, they led us into captivity, throughout history. You'll see how these other nations led us into captivity. But guess what? Esau, Edom, man, without a doubt. This devil has given us the hardest bondage, the hardest captivity. So, he's going to be brought into captivity, as well as these other nations. It says, he that leadeth in the captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. And as we know, Esau, he has been given the sword, the so-called white man, as one of his blessings, to rule over the earth with the sword. You can get that in Genesis chapter 27, when Isaac was blessing Esau with his blessings, because Jacob supplanted him of his birthright. Esau gave up his birthright, for some raw meat, and he lost his birthright. So he's crying back unto Isaac, begging for a blessing. And what? That's basically Isaac gave him what the dew of heaven and fatness of the earth, meaning a vast amount of wealth and resources and riches on the earth. That's why the so-called white man, he's the richest person on planet Earth. He owns the majority of the corporations and companies. I mean, you have the elite international bankers, all of them being Edomites, man, so-called white people. Really beginning the elite international bankers, most of them being pretty much, most of them being small hats. I mean, if not all, small hats, those people who call themselves the children of the Lord today, those are the Amalekites, which are the Amalekites is the chief tribe of the nation of Edom, the chief tribe of the nation of Esau, meaning that, they're at the top of the Edomites. And that's why the small hat, they own all the entertainment, the media, the industries, and the corporations. And hey, man, because they're the chief tribe of the nation of Edom. So it says, he that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. So as we know, Esau was killed us with the sword. As we know, what Esau, he's ruling by the way of a sword. You know, his military. He has power over basically over these other nations currently with the sword. So it says, here is the patience and the faith of the saints. So what? Guess what? That's our patience, our faith. And we're patiently waiting for our captives, or our captors to be made captives. For those who have us in captivity, to go into captivity. And he that killeth with the sword, you know, Esau is constantly killing Israelites with the sword, being a terror onto us. I said, what? They're going to be killed with the sword. No, not all of them, but you're going to have a lot of Edomites who die when, during the return of Yahushua. But you're going to have a lot of Edomites that are reserved for the kingdom of heaven. Meaning that they're going to be slaves under us, receiving the hardest bondage ever, man, ever witnessed throughout all time. You know, they're going to receive, these other nations will receive the hardest bondage, but Esau will receive the most severest bondage in captivity. It says, here is the patience and the faith of the saints, and this our patience and our faith. So this what we hoping, man. The disciples, when they were asking Yahushua when the kingdom will come, that's exactly what they were waiting for. You know, the disciples at that time being captives under, the Romans. They were waiting for Yahushua to come back to set up the kingdom of heaven so that these other nations will be in subject under us. Psalm chapter 148 and 13. Let them praise the Lord. Or it says, let them praise the name of the Lord Yahweh. For his name alone is excellent. His glory is above, it says, his glory is above the earth and heaven. It says, he also exalteth the horn of his people, the praises of all of his saints, even of the children of Israel, a people near unto him. It says, praise ye the Lord Yahweh. So let me read that again. It says, Psalm 148 and 14. He also exalteth the horn of his people, the praise of all of his saints, even of the children of Israel, a people near unto him. Praise ye the Lord Yahweh. So the saints are the children of Israel, man. So the Lord will give his saints these other nations. As we know, what the Lord received these other nations, the heathen, as an inheritance. But guess what? The Lord will pass down that inheritance onto us Israelites, starting with the elect of the nation of Israel once we're in the kingdom of heaven. Romans chapter 9 and 3 says, so it says, For I could wish that myself were accursed from Mashiach, from my brethren, my kinsmen, according to the flesh, who are Israelites, to whom pertaineth the adoption, and the glory, and the covenants, and the giving of the law, and the service of the Most High, and the promises. See? So it says, who are Israelites? So that's what Apostle Paul was saying. For I could wish that myself were accursed from Mashiach, from my brethren, my kinsmen, according to the flesh, who are Israelites, to whom pertaineth the adoption. See? So why didn't Apostle Paul mention, and as well as Esau, and as well as Moab, as well as Ammon, as well as Ishmael, as well as Edom, as well as Ethiopians? And no, man, he didn't say the Hamites. He only said Israel. It says, to whom pertaineth the adoption, and the glory, and the covenants, and the giving of the law, and the service of the Most High, and the promises. So everything the scriptures promise unto the nation of Israel, it has not been done away. It has not been done away with. It has not been extended onto these other nations. All the promises and everything, man, the adoptions and everything that the Lord has really given unto the nation of Israel, has been kept only with them. So it says, verse 5, whose are the fathers, and of whom, as concerning the flesh of Mashiach, came, who is over all, Most High, blessed forever. Amen. So yeah, see, even it says right here how whose are the fathers, and of whom, as concerning the flesh, Hamashiach came. So the Lord came for our sakes. The Lord came for the nation of Israel. The scriptures say how the Lord's coming back to deliver his people. So this is 2 Ezra chapter 6 and 9. It says, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it, the father. Yeah, currently Esau's ruling, but we're in that time where Esau's rulership is falling. As we're nearing closer to the coming of Yahushua, Esau's rulership will keep on getting weaker and weaker and crumbling by the second until it'll crumble completely once Yahushua comes back. So it says, for Esau is the end of the world. Yeah, Esau is ending or nearing the end of his rulership. World in this sense meaning era. So Esau's world, his era, is ending. It says, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. And once Esau's rulership falls, and he's put into subjection, under the Israelites, that's gonna be that's gonna be his end, man. And he'll be slaves under us. It says, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follows. So once Esau loses his rulership, his power upon the earth, Jacob is going to be the next one up, the Israelites. No, it's not going to be Russia. It's not going to be China. It's not going to be these other nations. As we know, America currently is a superpower, the earth, which America is the Edomite nation. And, America is just not the only Edomite nation. You have the Russian, you have these different countries within the EU. And, but guess what? They're not going to, none of them are going to rule. The Israelites will be the next ones to rule. Literally right after Esau falls, right after America falls, Jacob, the Israelites, will be the next ones to come. Literally right after. So yeah, I believe that's the point. The Lord is only dealing with the nation of Israel, and the Lord will set up the Israelites over all the nations. Us having those new perfect bodies, we're going to have, of course, the second covenant will kick in. We're going to have the law, statutes, commandments written within us, meaning we're not ever going to sin again, and we're going to be 100% righteous. These other nations won't receive that. They're going to be basically forced to keep the law, statutes, commandments. They won't be perfect, and they'll receive the judgments according to what the scriptures say if they go off. But yeah, this is what's prophesied, and it will come to pass. So Lord's will, you brothers are edified. Yahweh Bashmi Al Shai, Bashim Kakudash Brakathum. Shalom.